You've probably had situations where you were already doing something before you even knew what the science was, or the name, or the system or strategy behind it. And habit stacking is one of those things for me. The world of habit stacking is such a game changer in efficient time management. And today I want to go through the science behind it, the practical strategies for weaving it into your daily routine, and how you're probably doing some of this and you didn't even know that it was a whole system concept and science backed solution to time management. And creating a new habit, whether it's working out, getting in a flow or routine, you definitely have seen this with your kids show up. It comes from simply creating that habit, making it a habit, making it a regular occurrence in your life. But how do we actually form habits? What is the actual action to be able to form habits? If everyone could unlock this, we could be able to achieve all those different goals that we're maybe striving for, or looking for, or hoping for. And we see this so much in the conversations around health and fitness, is where it's most spoken about, right? Where we talk about how do you get in the routine of waking up and getting to the gym, or waking up early, or fitting this into your life. And the fact of the matter is, it's not necessarily just doing the dang thing, or having the motivation, or having the discipline. And maybe you've seen other people form habits more quickly, more efficiently, and you've wondered, what is it that they're doing? How are they doing that? And the science behind this, I love when Charles Duhigg in his book, The Power of the Habit, breaks it down. He talks about in our brains, we have these neurological in our brains, we have these neurological patterns for habits. And we can leverage this to our advantage by using habit stacking. And this is a method that is backed by science. This isn't just a concept, right? In the world of neural pathways, it's fascinating. We can break it down into so many different levels. But the part that I've really dug into when it comes to habits and habit stacking is that when we repeat a behavior consistently, our brain forges these new connections, these new neuron pathways. And these pathways essentially become shortcuts in our brains. So if you think about cutting a shortcut when you're navigating your GPS or your car, it's really the same thing. But it's when we think one thing or we do one thing, our brain shoots a message over to another part of our brain, and it's creating this shortcut that it knows to drive through to be able to make it easier and more automatic for us to perform the associated behavior. In The Power of Habit, Charles Duhigg explains that every habit consists of a cue, a routine, and a reward. And this loop reinforces the neural pathway. So I'll say that again. Every habit consists of a cue, a routine, and a reward. And this loop reinforces the neural pathway. So if you think about when you're recreating these pathways, you're getting in the habit, you're getting in the routine. Not only are you getting in the habit yourself outside of your body, but you're getting in the habit of running that pathway in your brain. The concept of habit stacking allows us to take advantage of these established pathways by integrating new behaviors into existing routines. So once you become familiar with that pathway, and once your brain is like, hey, I know that if I go here, I can do this quickly, then you're adding something to it. That's the concept of habit stacking. You're saying, great, you've learned this shortcut. Let's add something to it so now we can build on that shortcut and do not just one thing, but two. So this allows us to really build on this in an effortless way to adopt new habits and strengths within these neural connections. It makes the behaviors more ingrained over time so that when we habit stack, we're not just adding tasks to our to-do list, but we're reshaping those pathways to be more efficient, hold more, and be more sustainable for daily living. So when you look at people and you look at how are they doing it all? How are they doing all of those things? They're likely habit stacking. They're likely creating these neural pathways to be able to hold more. They're giving themselves the literal brain ability to be able to do things more efficiently, more quickly, and be able to reduce the mental load and the overwhelm because they're creating space in their brain. So if you're ever thinking, wow, that person's just more efficient than me, or that person must have a secret, they probably have just literally built their brain and body to execute their life in a way that is efficient and sustainable. And so the good news is you can do it too. It's available to all of us and everyone. And it's really not just this trendy concept. You've maybe heard people talk about the power of habits or habit stacking, but it's not just a buzzword. It's not a trendy concept. It's a productivity booster that's backed by science. And James Clear in the book Atomic Habits emphasizes how these small changes can lead to remarkable results. And I really want us to focus on that part, especially as moms, the small changes. So imagine increased productivity, improved time management, and reduced decision fatigue. We talk about that mental clutter, that mental overwhelm, especially as a mom. And this can all be achieved through building those neural pathways, those neural connections, being able to habit stack and create more productivity within these shortcuts in our brain. So, let me show you how this could show up in your life with what you're already doing. So, let's talk about your morning routine. It might feel like chaos or it might feel really organized, but most of you probably brush your teeth. And what if brushing your teeth, it's something you don't even probably think about. Like you may have forgotten to brush your teeth a time or two, but more than likely, most days you get up, you brush your teeth without even really thinking it through. Now, if you that's a neural pathway that you've created. You have this shortcut in your brain that I brush my teeth in the morning. Now, if you could build on that and habit stack and have it become a cue for maybe a mindful exercise or running through your day or having a little mini dance party, doing a couple squats, whatever fits with what your goals are, you can say, when I brush my teeth, I will also do this. Then, after a while, when you reform that neural pathway, when you make that connection and you build on it, now not only will you brush your teeth without thinking about it, but you'll brush your teeth and whatever else it is. Do your mindfulness exercise or do 3 squats. Now, another way that this could show up is maybe you make coffee in the morning or you get a glass of water, whatever it is that you are grabbing to drink first thing in the morning. Now, maybe you're stacking that with taking a vitamin. Maybe you always forget to take your pills or your vitamins, whatever you need to take. But if you can stack it on top of something that you're already doing without thinking about it, then that neural pathway, that habit is formed so that you're not even thinking about it. It just becomes that you're doing 2 things now instead of 1. What a concept, right? You could do more things without even thinking about it. Now, think about the end of the day, the evening rush. You're probably eating dinner, no matter what is going on. There's some form of food that you're intaking at the end of the evening, and it might be fast food, it might be sitting down as a family for dinner. But what if that pathway of I feed myself at the end of the day was partnered with quality family questions? Now, this doesn't mean you have to have a super deep connection exercise as a family, but if you got in the habit of saying, okay, when we feed ourselves in the evening, that is a time that we reflect on the day. And I ask my kids XYZ, or my kids tell me XYZ, or I send a text to my family member or friend. Now, this becomes a habit and a routine that when I eat at night, I sit down, we have this conversation, or I perform this task. Now, you're feeding yourself and you're asking a quick question. You're connecting with your kids. You're shooting off a text message if your kids aren't in the house anymore. And it allows you to create these habits without even thinking about it. It's all about optimizing what you're already doing. So you're creating a routine and a habit based off of what you already do. We all do things already. So if you're thinking, well, I don't have these systems in place, I don't have this organization, you do. And that's the whole point. You find what you currently have going on and build on it. So BJ Fogg's Tiny Habits method emphasizes the power of starting with micro adjustments. And this is exactly what we're talking about, making the process of habit formation more manageable and less overwhelming. So this is a lot of science, a lot of things that we've talked about in this conversation, but really it's about making the process of habit formation more manageable by focusing on those tiny behaviors and celebrating the small wins consistently. If you could just build 1 to 2 micro little habits into what you're currently already doing, at the end of, let's say, 3 months, 6 months, even a year, you would be an entirely new person. Your routine would look completely different, and all you did was build on what you're already doing. If we can engage in the cue routine reward loop and reinforce the habit stacking process, this paves the way for that long term success in our busy mom lives. Whether you're trying to accomplish your goals, navigate the little humans, or keep the house under control, rather than having this giant, overwhelming to do list, we allow ourselves to take one mini step a day and celebrate the wins along the way. And this is actually how I built 2 Weeks to Tidy. I started this conversation with saying that we often do things without even knowing what the science is behind it. And then we're like, hey, I'm already doing parts of that. So, 2 Weeks to Tidy is where I started my cleaning and decluttering journey after searching millions of blog posts and Pinterest and so many things. And I could not figure out how to get a routine in our house around just picking up every day. It just felt like we were too busy. I could not get it under control. But deep down, I knew that wasn't the case. I knew I could get something together. So I found bits and pieces of what other people had put together and really made it my own, and created this framework of taking on 1 to 2 new things a day where I was habit stacking to create a routine throughout the day that led to a tidy house. And that was my goal in that season of I need a peaceful house. And this then I learned was an example of habit stacking and creating these new neural pathways where now I know that at the end of the night, I take this action, I do this activity, and these things build on each other. And now it feels super simple. It's fast, it's easy. And what once felt really overwhelming is now a habit and a routine. And that's literally what we're talking about here. And this shows up in so many areas, so many ways of how we navigate life. And I actually believe that the demands of motherhood are a benefit in this aspect because we only have so much time. When you have too much time, you sit in overwhelm. You don't actually accomplish things. But when you have a limited amount of time, there's the phrase, if you want something done, give it to the busiest person. When you have a limited amount of time, all you can do is focus on the micro steps. You can put one foot in front of each other and allow yourself to just take one step at a time. So if we can focus on those micro steps and we can focus on the time that we do have, that's where we can create success. And listen, I know that change, habits, routines, they're all hard because overcoming resistance, fitting new things into your schedule, just sometimes navigating the day to day, it can be difficult. But when you can adapt your habits to the evolving schedules and you can stay motivated and you understand that setbacks are part of the journey, you come back to the framework, to the science, to the proven methods. And what you're doing is introducing one small thing, one micro adjustment to what you're already doing. Like we said, it's maybe thinking one positive thought while brushing your teeth that now becomes a new habit. It's taking your vitamin with your beverage in the morning. That's all it is, one little step at a time. So if you're ready to build on this and take it to the next level or implement any part of this into your life, I'll link all of the books that I mentioned below, as well as our 2 Weeks to Tidy guide. And this is the first framework that I built to implement these concepts, and it changed my life. Once I started with being able to have the mental capacity of what my home felt like and build on those habits, I've now been able to learn that there's a system and a science behind this that so many others teach and speak to. And these books really outline it in different ways, but then you can implement it to any goal that you have, anything that you're trying to accomplish in your life, how you show up as a mom, how you connect with your kids, how you support yourself, your partner, your relationships. And you can use these proven strategies to truly get the secret, if you will, to life and time management. So check each of those out, but remember, it's one small thing a day. So think about some of the habits that you're currently already doing. the things that you know that you do every day. And if you can't think it through, because when I first did this, it was really hard for me. I tried to just think about it for like a week, and I would write things down once I started to notice them. Like, okay, well, every morning you do this. You brush your teeth. Every night you wash your face. I noticed that I had these habits that I wasn't even relating to habits. Those are the best ones because you're not even thinking about it. So now you're going to build something into it without even thinking about it. Okay, sending you so much love, Mama. I cannot wait to hear how this goes down for you. Please send me a message and let me know how this impacts your life and what your thoughts were around habit stacking, neural pathways, and all the fun science that we talked about today.